Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth, shifting you into higher consciousness. A show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, interviews with inspiring guests, experts, and celebrities, intuitive readings, channeled messages, mental health awareness, and hot topics to expand your awareness. Tune in for unprecedented truth, authenticity, on-purpose discussions, and magic.
We are going to talk about something that I remember. I think, if I remember correctly, of the 160 something episodes we have, this remains our number one topic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. So, and this was recorded back when we almost kind of around when we first started too. And so today we're going to talk more about it, which is how to start developing your sixth sensory abilities. And I think some people think they don't have them, but I think for the most part, everyone does, right? What do you think?
Right. We all can.
Yeah.
But you're right, because it's interesting. Like, I've spoken to so many groups where I ask that question, like, raise your hand if you feel like you have, a decent or strong intuition. And like only 20% of people raise their hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they just don't know. But we can give examples today though. So people can realize, whoa, that does happen to me.
Right. Yeah. I think starting, Lisa Husher that came on our show a while back, she did talk about this, but I'll just say it quickly. That if you're clairvoyant, you're able to see visions of things. Sometimes you're able to see prophecies or visions of what's going to come about, or visions that give you examples of something, or see different things. Mm-hmm. And then clairaudient is when you hear things. So messages might come through. It doesn't always necessarily mean you'll hear voices, but they just kind of come through like
thought.
Like hearing,
like a thought, like we think it's our own thought, but it's not.
Well, that's claircognizant. So
it's different.
Claircognizant is when you get like ideas popping in that aren't yours, that that intuitively. So clairaudient would be that you actually have almost like where you can hear it. You might literally hear it. Yeah, you might literally hear it, or you might hear it in your head.
Okay.
And so then claircognizant, I get claircognizant a lot. Like, I'll get, words and sentences popping in, and a lot of times I don't know what they mean.
Right. Yeah.
And then clairsentient is when you feel and you sense things. So you might feel bad energy. You might feel that someone is thinking, jealous thoughts about you. Or you might just feel like, oh, that's a good decision. That's a bad decision. Things like that, like a clairsentience. And then there's other ones. There's ones with like smelling.
Yes.
But those are the main ones.
Yeah, there's 4 main, and then I think there's 6 or 7 of them. We probably should have had prepared for.
Go back to Lisa's episode. Yeah.
Okay. And I think that I have a little of every one of them, a little bit of every one of them.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
So I want to start by asking you, because I thought it was really interesting, and I feel like you could help me with this. Well, first of all, we had a quote that I posted the other day that Eden resonated with, and I resonate with. And so I'm going to read that. A positive thinker sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible.
Yeah.
So a lot of what sixth sensory abilities or sixth sensory living is when something can be unexplained, like scientifically. It doesn't always have to be explained by logic or reason. It might just be a knowing. It might just be that you are the only one who saw that vision, but you have this strong knowing, a sixth sense, knowing that this is true.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time you actually get validation that it is true later on, or from someone else, or through signs. Like, there's so many, or something happening. And so I think that's important. And so also Eden talked about not trying, just knowing. And so when you do your automatic writing, and when you receive messages from past loved ones and guides, how do you do that without trying? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's interesting because the other day, I was trying to teach some friends of mine how to do what I think my daughter, or Missy taught me what this means, or no, they told me what it's called, which is flow writing. So anybody could do this, and I was trying to teach them, but you really have to be able to let go. So it's get out of your head, not overthink, not judge yourself, not look at it like you have to be perfect. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You just let go and let the pen write. And that's basically, like I said, something that anybody can do, but it doesn't have to come from where mine comes from, because mine comes from the dead. I mean, I can also channel my higher self and get answers for myself. But channeling someone who's passed on, that's not something that everybody is able to do, but everyone could do the flow writing. But it's the not trying part that is how it's going to actually come through clearly. Yeah. And not only the not trying, but it's like, get out of your own way, get out of your ego, like put the ego aside. Because the ego wants to control. And it's not just with the writing, but it's anything, listening to your intuition and, your higher self, your inner truth, your soul. And that's going to give you all the answers that you need. But a lot of people don't either know how, or they don't trust it. We have a lot of people who still have self-doubt. I do sometimes still.
Yeah.
And they we are supposed to go by faith on these things, but we need, the ego wants proof that it's real.
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing to balance.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing readings for almost 20 years, and I still get those silly thoughts that come in and go, oh, what if this doesn't work today? Or like, what if that wasn't true? And so you have to, I think that's going to happen for most people. And so you have to learn the difference of like, okay, well, that's just a habitual silly thought coming in. Tune in, get back into your heart and soul. And like Missy says, get out of your head and into your heart. And if you want to say that over and over, get out of your head and into your heart, it'll help you just like shut up the mind. Especially if let's say you are doing a reading for yourself or for someone, or you're just looking for an answer to something. Maybe you're making a decision and you say out loud, okay, divine, God, universe, whatever, what am I meant to do? To tune in and either flow write or listen or have a message come in of what you're meant to do, you need to quiet that part of the mind that might go, who are you to be doing this? Just all these silly thoughts that come in. Thoughts aren't, Yeah.
And then there's also that part where the ego is biased. So we want to hear what we want to hear. So sometimes, like, why someone might not come to have a reading with me is because they don't want to hear certain things.
Yeah, the truth.
Right. Yes, they will always get the truth when they work with me. I'm sure it's same for you. But yeah, not everybody wants to hear that. They want to stay in their little, what I call fantasy bubble. And so that is a way to block your intuition as well.
Right. And with not trying, do you feel like, so for me, I feel like I had a knowing that I could do readings and I was getting messages and things like that. So I started just following that and doing it. And so for the most part, I don't really ask to do it. I just do it. But I do pray and ask to turn off something that is about someone passing away or getting sick or, things like that. I don't want to know unless I really could genuinely help them in some way. And so I do feel like that works to turn that off. And there have been, like, there was a time years ago now, like probably 15 years ago, that I was meditating and I was like, I feel I'm ready to start seeing angels and orbs and guides. Like, can I see them? Is there a way that I could just start seeing them? And I literally started seeing them that night. And I do all the time still.
Yeah.
And then for those of you wanting to know more about that, it happens for me. Like, I'll see little like colored dots, but they stay for a long period of time, longer than just a quick second. Or sometimes I'll see blobs of color. There have been times where I actually saw angel shapes. There have been a few times I saw dark figures, but I prayed them away or got away quickly because I don't want to involve that. What about you?
All of it, all the above. Yeah, I'm able to ask to turn it on and off, basically. And that's something that took a lot of time to practice and learn, how to perfect that, the turning it off. Which I get that question a lot from people. And then there's also something you brought up with what you just said made me realize or recall. I had a call the other day with a client, and this has happened a number of times. They asked me beforehand, how do you make sure that what they call bad spirits don't come in?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that from people?
Not as much, because I don't do like as much readings with, people who passed away.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have a standard answer for that. Two ways to answer, which I can't remember. Did I talk about this on the show before?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I want to know what answers are, like what we do. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't want to repeat myself. But one thing is that I have learned that over the years, there's not necessarily a reason to call them bad or to be afraid of them. It's really, again, our ego needing to protect ourselves, and also taking into consideration what they show in movies and television, that they portray spirits or ghosts as a bad thing. I don't have the experience of them being bad. So I don't support that belief. And once somebody lets their guard down, they realize, oh, this energy is here in my home for a reason, not to hurt me, but because they have unfinished business, or, they have a message for me, or they passed away in this house, but it's nothing like harmful. So there's that. What, you have something to say?
Yes, I wanted to ask, because I've had a couple experiences where they attached themselves to me, and I had to do like clearings to get that to stop. So I think in that case, it doesn't have to be bad, but you do have to protect your energy, and we definitely should go into that for a minute. I know we have before, but just a quick.
Yeah, and there's a fine line for me too, and what I believe to be needing whether we need protection or not. When we set ourselves up for saying, like, I want to protect myself in, when I go out today, or when I do this reading, I think that already makes us come from a negative place, and a place of like, oh, we are already thinking that this energy is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So if we let go when we say, that we are in the light, we're in the divine light, or we have, the higher power that's with us. We don't have to ask for the protection. We just know that it's, something that it's a given in a way, but we don't want to put it out there that there's something wrong.
Right. But what if you go, like, what if, for example, like I've gone to a concert and it had a lot of really dark energy, like in low energy, and I came back feeling wiped out, and like I had weird stuff on me. What do you do then? Like, I feel like there's some circumstances where you could do like some sort of clearing energy, like even if you just take a sea salt bath. I was going
to say that. So it's just about labeling something as bad or good. I think it's important to be careful with that.
Yeah.
But yes, if we feel, because that's, what is it? Clear audience? No, what is it? Which one is that where you feel other people's energy? Clairsentience. Yeah. So we're feeling other people's energy. We do have the ability to do that. So we can ask our bodies to just kind of turn it off, that, so that we can coexist in the world with other people. Instead of like, I don't know, going around. I feel like it's like we're saying like everybody has a disease and we have to protect ourselves all the time. And that's right. That's like having to be hyper vigilant all the time. And it's exhausting. So I don't know. I just see it like that. I'm just trying not to make any of it negative or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get why you feel like, that's happened to me too.
And I like your perspective. That seems more relaxing to do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to have it expressed, But I think it's also like what has helped me get more into that place you're talking about is to sometimes I have to do it, especially if I'm not feeling well, I have to do it like 300 times a day, probably. But getting back to a place of like, okay, I'm tuned into my heart and soul, which is connected to oneness, which means you're forever connected to divine energy and yourself, like all as one. And then I know it's not just me and I don't feel alone, and it helps me.
Yeah.
Trust and have faith in whatever's happening. There is some sort of higher good, even if we don't quite know what it is yet.
Yes. Yeah. Because even in a situation that can be hard, difficult, negative, painful, there is always a higher purpose in it. There's a purpose for our pain. That's what I believe. But back to, I was going to say the second part of my answer is when people ask me, what do I do when there's a dark energy, or how do I keep it from happening? So one is that I don't look at it like it's a bad thing. Yeah. And then the second one is it's just that they have it's like needing more acceptance for what they need to hear, like just really letting go. And when they do that, there's nothing bad is going to happen. And then we can't control anything, but I don't hear from, someone coming through giving me a prediction like something bad's going to happen or someone's going to pass away. Like that just doesn't happen in my readings. I can't even say 100% with 100% certainty how I do that. It just doesn't happen. But some people feel like for maybe religious beliefs or they've heard stories, but it doesn't have to be that they look at it like they put fear into it already. They project a fear, and there's no reason to do that because it just let go. Right. Yeah. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. I think also having everyone know there's a few different things you could do is like, I get really strongly the healing, making sure you're feeling like you're healed and you're not, clogged up with emotions or things holding you back, like blocks or heart walls or, things that Skylar teaches. But I think doing a lot of healing work, it's a continuous journey of healing work. And so making sure that you're doing healing work, but also, at least for me, I feel like I have to go into nature as often as I can. And that helps me feel more intuitive and more like I'm going to see signs and more grounded. And, for me, I feel like it's a challenge sometimes because I'm not feeling well. And so then I'll feel like I can't connect. And so if I go into nature and do some sort of grounding, a lot of times that opens that back up again. I know. I remember you recently told me when you had a day you weren't feeling well. And you went and did something like I got like intuitively, okay, you need to go outside and walk, I think is what it was. And do like a soul walk. And you felt better afterwards because you did that. You got grounded and you connected. And I do think that a lot of times when we're not feeling well, part of it is what our perspective is on it. Yeah, but that's a whole other subject. But back to, that's a really good point in how we connect with our sixth sense is by healing, so that we could be more open and not all clogged up with stuff, with baggage. Yeah, is to heal, release a lot of those old beliefs and limiting beliefs and stories that we have in our head.
Thank you for listening to Talk Purpose and Truth podcast. Find out more at talkpurposeandtruth.com. And follow us at Talk Purpose Truth on Instagram and Facebook.